So in your course, you go over using the brow ruler, which is super popular. A lot of people love the ruler. Love the brow ruler. You go over the mapping string, and you go over like with calipers. And then what? Freehand. Freehand. So, and you moved all through those methods. You've used all those methods.
Yeah, I used them all. Just try them out, see what works best, or, combine things, see if that works.
Yeah.
And now I've just gotten to a point where I like to put the ruler on the face. I freehand, and then when I'm done, I'll look at my measurements on the ruler, make sure it's, all aligned and symmetrical. And, the ruler for me, I feel like is more for my client than for myself, because, you have those clients where they're like, oh, this one's longer. This one's higher. This one, I'm like, no, there's a ruler on there. You can measure that all by yourself.
Right. Yeah.
So they know it's symmetrical on their face.
Yeah. The ruler don't lie.
The ruler don't lie.
Yeah. So that's your more preferred method. Yeah. So you're more like me. You were I know you went through those things, but you ended up being not a very structured designer, I guess, because some people are very structured.
Yeah, they gotta have this and that everywhere it needs to.
Yeah, markings everywhere and lines and dots and this and that, and they use rulers and mapping string, which is totally okay. I've always had the philosophy, like, whatever it takes to get you to a beautiful symmetrical design, who gives a shit? That's what it takes.
As long as you get there.
As long as you get there in a reasonable amount of time. Yeah. Right?
I don't even fill in the brow in anymore. It's just an outline.
Yeah. And I started out freehanding, and I've been mostly a freehander my whole life, meaning not using tools. But if I do need to use a tool, because sometimes when they don't have hair,
it's hard. It's harder.
It's harder, right, to find the balance and get them in alignment. So sometimes, on clients like that, I'll get the ruler out because it will get me where I need to be quicker. But if they have hair, I typically don't get the ruler out. I can just kind of use their hair, freehand it and whatnot. And then, but sometimes I struggle. Sometimes I'll get them like perfect, but when I step back and look, there's something bothering me about this brow. I can tell something's a little off. I can't pinpoint it. I'll put the ruler on, and by putting that ruler on, it pinpoints where you're off a little bit.
Yeah, what I like to do, I'll look at my client and I know I'm off, but then I like to ask the girls, I'm like, why am I off? How am I off?
Yeah.
What do you see? So I can see if they see what I see.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it's good too, because sometimes we stare at our brows. We're drawing on a client. We're staring at them for so long that you can't, I don't know if your eyes get tired, but it's good. Like I always told you girls in the beginning, if it's taken too long and you're not getting them right, you keep adjusting and there's something bothering them about you, leave the room. Excuse yourself. Go tinkle or go something. And that allows your eyes to refresh and then go back into the room like 3 to 5 minutes later, look at the brow, the design again. And it's almost like, okay, now you can see it because you refreshed your eyes. And I think that absolutely works.
It definitely does.
Yeah. So that's a good little tidbit in your course. You have a lot of good little tidbits. I think the videos are great. And there is no doubt. Look, anybody following you and is familiar with your work knows that your eyebrow designs are like on point, right? On point. And you're you're the artist that is not only doing Instagram brows. I mean, you do the Instagram brow, right? And what that is for people that don't know is that very structured,
like ombre brow.
Yeah, and it's perfect. Perfect. The bridge is very straight. It's a certain look. And we see that look a lot on Instagram. It looks great on the younger girls. Up to a certain age, I think it looks really good, that look. And it's a beautiful brow on many, many people. But you can't put that brow like on.
You can't put it on an 80-year-old. They're gonna look funny.
Yeah, it just doesn't fit like an older gal.
Yeah.
And so you have to be able to custom design brows to fit all the different faces and as well as the different personalities.
I do have some of the older ladies ask for my ombre brows.
Do
though.
you?
I do.
But do you do them that structured?
Not as structured. They're a little bit different. They're a little bit
Yeah.
drawn on different.
Yeah,
They're a little
you-
thinner.
you-
They're a little this and
Exactly.
that.
You customize it. And
Yeah.
I see that with your work. You customize. And so, that, and I think as PMURs, we have to be able to do that. Like if we're relying too much or 100% on drawing tools,
They're gonna get like the same thing every time.
every single time. So it's good that PMURs also develop that aesthetic eye, and that they can, maybe they're using rulers or mapping string and they get a structured brow on, but that doesn't quite fit that particular client or her personality. That's not what the client wants, maybe. And then they can take a Q-tip and pencil and reshape it a little bit and customize it to fit that particular client. I think that's important that we're able to do that.
Well, everybody's different. Everybody's face is different.
Yeah.
I mean, in my course, we go over the face shapes and all that sort of thing, and what brows look good on different people. So
Yeah. Well, that shape got really, really super trendy. It's still really trendy and really popular. And so when you have newbies come into the industry, they think, some of the conversations I've had is they think that's the standard.
Yeah.
And that's the only style brow they should be doing on everybody, and I've been asked about that, and they're just curious and they're asking questions. And I'm like, no, it's a beautiful style brow, great on lots of different people, but you can't have like this cookie cutter brow that you just draw and put on every single person. You have to be able to customize.
Yeah.
So I tell them, like, draw on your mom, draw on, sisters and friends. Practice freehanding, even though you may not freehand on a client. You're going to use, rulers and string and whatnot. Practice drawing on friends and family so you develop those freehanding skills. So,
yeah, it's going to help you immensely in the long run.
Yeah, it's going to help you immensely. And I think it's going to give you some confidence, too.
Yes. Yes.
And your course goes beyond design.
Yes, it goes designing and how to lock it in.
Because once you draw the design on, we do a lot of classes here.
Mm-hmm.
And, I see it. And we were dealing this with Amy. This is one of Amy's big things to get over. She'd draw the brow on, and as she was tattooing, she'd wipe away her stencil.
Yeah, and then she wouldn't get to her edges.
She wouldn't get to her edges. She had to keep
design.
Right. She had to keep sitting the client back up and redrawing. And I think it was through that period with Amy and you and I trying to get her through that, is because I told her you can't keep doing that. You're losing your design. You're wiping ahead and you're losing your design. And I had her tattoo in the outline. Mm-hmm. And that's when it dawned on me, Michonne, you need to add this to your course.
And I already do that for my ombre brows as well.
Anyway,
so.
Yeah. So there is a little bit of tattooing. It's not strictly a design course. It's hyper-focused on design and getting to that beautiful brow. But you added that chapter on, once you draw it, locking it in, outlining that brow. So that design is set in the skin throughout the entire procedure. You don't have to worry about wiping anything off. It's just there. And I think people are going to totally dig that. I think some people are going to that's going to be their method. That's what they're going to do. They're going to draw it and they're going to lock it.
But I want you also to get past that too. So you don't always have to outline.
So you don't always have to outline, because some skins,
they won't like it.
Right. We work on some skins that are ruddy, super red, ruddy, textured, large pores, oily. Yeah. And the minute you try to outline it, bleed. Bruise. I mean, yeah. So it's not a sure thing on every single client.
But then there's other things that I tell you in the course if you don't need to tattoo it.
That's right. You have lots of tips and tricks, I think, for every situation.
Yeah.
And if there's a situation that maybe a student comes across and there's not a nugget of advice from you or it hasn't been addressed, we want them to email us and let us
me know.
Yeah, because we can always put it in. And sometimes the feedback from the students taking the course, I've taken lots of feedback from the students taking my powder brow course. You know, they'll just ask me a question. I'm like, ooh,
That's a good one.
that's a good one. I got to do a whole chapter on that. So it's good once students, I mean, you release the course as full as you think it needs to be, as detailed as you think it, you know, you're satisfied. And then once a bunch of students start taking it, they start asking questions, and then you'll start maybe adding a little here, adding it a little there, and making it even more detailed and more fuller based on student experience and student questions. Yeah. So I actually rely on the students' questions to
that would help a lot.
finish it out. So maybe the course is 98% done, launched, and then as students take it, we start getting questions. We address the questions,
It's a good thing I made all the apprentices look at it first then.
yeah, we did. We had all the apprentices watch it because they're newbies. We thought if anybody's going to catch something that maybe you didn't address, it's going to be one of the apprentices that are newer.
Well, it's something that I might have talked to them about already and, you know, in their training that I just forgot about and forgot to put into the course, which they did let me know some things. They're like, what about the things that you always teach us about this and that? Why didn't you put that in there? I was like, I didn't remember that.
Yeah. It takes a village, right?
Yeah.
Totally took a village to get a course launch. But so when you start your next course?
Oh dear God. Give me a few months to rest, man.
Yeah. Give you a few months.
No, I still I got an idea on some stuff for you guys.
Well, I give you a really good idea.
I know.
Don't say it out
that
loud.
One too. I'm not going
Don't
to say
it out
anything.
loud. But your course, this podcast will air after your course launches.
All right, cool.
Yeah, so your course launches March 16th, Olivia?
15th.
Is it 15th or
16th. You guys changed the
16th.
day on me.
Yeah, March 16th. It launches, and
Oh, now I gotta go message some people.
yeah,
now.
yeah, launches on the 16th, and we already posted about it on Instagram, and people are actually. Kat was just right before the podcast. Kat flips her phone and shows me, and I'm like, I can't see it from there. I go, what is that? I go, is this something bad? What is it? Because usually when she
What
flips
happened?
her phone, it was, you know, it's usually, read this. It's like maybe a customer didn't get something in
I know
her
she
order.
showed me, and she's like, I was like, what'd I do?
Yeah. But it was somebody emailing, when is Michonne's mapping course launch?
Yeah, I was talking to Ari, and she's like, yeah, someone already called, wants to know right when it launches, and then someone emailed. I've had a few people hit me up on Instagram.
So how good does that make you feel?
It does. It makes me feel really great.
Yeah.
I hope I'm very blunt and to the point. So I hope that the course is not boring for you guys.
No,
I
it's
did
not boring.
put a little fluff in there for you.
Yeah,
but
I read it, and I know. So I went through your entire course, and I go back, and I'm like, Michonne, it's really, really good,
I'm boring.
but you need some fluff. And you're like, fluff? I'm like, it's a little dry, it's a little boring. You know, you just need some fluff, some analogies. Talk about a couple experience. You need a little. You need a little
Some filler.
I mean, so they can get to know you
Yeah.
a little bit, because anyone that knows you loves you, and you are a little drier.
I was like, I'm a little dry.
You're a little dry, a little more straight to the point, a little blunt, and which is totally fine. Nothing wrong with that. But you're not. But around us, you're goofy and you're funny more comical, and I think maybe we see really who you are in your whole in your whole awesomeness, rather maybe than when you're teaching, and that could still be maybe, because you're still kind of new to teaching, and
I'm good on one-on-one, guys.
yeah, you're good on one-on-one, but we're doing some courses. Look, you and I are doing a hands-on brow course.
Yep, August.
In August, and it's going to be a course where we're going to teach them brows with an 8 shader and a single needle, circles, shoveling, and whip shading. We're combining that, and that's what we're going to teach them how to do, because I don't understand why the whole industry is not really working. More of the artists are not working that way. Yeah. So I'm excited for that course. Super excited. So yeah, so March 16th it launches, and
I'm ready.
Yeah, so everybody listening, it'll be well launched by the time you hear this. So
Hope you guys like it.
yeah, they will. But you can go to girlzinktraining.com. Michonne Martinez, map it and lock it.
It's gonna be good.
Course. Yeah, I know. So thanks for sitting with me today.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
I just can't stop looking at you.
I know. I know. I totally see you checking me out.
It's not checking you out. I'm checking out my work.
You're checking out your work. Oh God.
Don't
I
mess
know.
it
It's hanging
up.
on by a thread. I got a big old scab on my lip, like a 1/2 inch in diameter, like hanging on by a thread, and you can't pull it.
No, you can't touch
Okay.
it.
No. Okay. I've talked about my scabs enough on this podcast, but but that's the thing is now you're never going to look at me the same.
No, I'm not gonna look at you. I'm gonna look at what I
No,
did.
because I've tattooed all my friends. You know, not all my friends, but the friends I have tattooed. It's like for weeks and weeks and months after you tattoo, and when you go to dinner with them, you're just looking at your work. You're like eyeballing.
I think it's years. I still look at everybody that I've tattooed
Yeah.
years ago. I'm like, oh, you need a touch up.
Yeah,
We gotta go in there.
yeah, it's the way it is. All right. Well, thanks for sitting with me
You're welcome.
and hanging out with me. I love you.
I love you too.
All right.
With all your puffiness.
All right. So, hey, please, you guys, go check us out on YouTube. Even if you prefer streaming us on one of the streaming platforms, go check out our YouTube channel and give us a follow and like our podcast. Your likes and follows mean an awful lot to us. And we're going to start uploading some of these clips to our TikTok, right, Willow? Yes, we're going to start doing that. So picking out some really great little fun moments and and doing that. Bloopers maybe to our TikTok. So I appreciate it. So I want to leave you with this. I've been trying to leave them with a message, a positive message. And so my message I want to leave you with this episode is, it doesn't get easier. You get stronger. Think about that for a minute.
It's
Right?
definitely true.
It is true. Things really don't get easier.
No,
We
just
just
get better at handling them.
yeah, we just get stronger, smarter, wiser, better. That's it. So keep that in mind. And stay in pursuit of happiness, everybody. And thank you for joining me. We will see you next time.
Thank you.
Yeah.